Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again to review another Hell's Kitchen episode. This episode was frustrating. I think the advertisement was totally a false advertisement of the episode in terms of there wasn't any, thing going on between a toy and Carmen. There wasn't sort of rivalry to beat all rivalries. So I was kind of disappointed with that because I was really excited to see Carmen use her mental gymnastics to, make up some stupid shit, but we didn't get to see that. I was really sad. It's almost like she's a better chef than, the advertisements are trying to make her out to be. But she still knows how to do those mental gymnastics, that's for sure. And so tonight I am reviewing Season 22, Episode 8. So far, I will just say right off the bat, this has probably been my second least favorite episode of the season so far. I know that we're only halfway through. I didn't like what happened at the end. I didn't think that it was a good decision to do all that. I felt like it was basically like last week. Remember when I said that he should have just sent home Devin and that other guy? Well, that's exactly what he should have done, because this week, what happens? You have Devin, he screws up again, and then he gets sent home. And it's like, see? Why didn't you just do that last week? What a waste of time this episode was. This episode was just for the views. Which I guess all the episodes are kind of for the views. And so the episode starts off in a very strange way, where Devin, he turns heel. He turns heel and he says, I am quoting him here. I am not making fun of anything. I'm not saying that that's what I am, because I'm not, obviously. But he says, I can't even read this without laughing. I am a Canadian queer Jew black man, and I have fought against all the odds to be on Hell's Kitchen. And it's like, no, you haven't. STFU with that shit. What is this, self-victimization crap? You didn't fight against any odds except for just beating the other people who could have gotten into the show. So right off the bat, he turns heel. He plays a bunch of different cards. He's like, look, I'm Canadian. And, apparently Canadians are discriminated against, maybe because Canadians are not very good. No, I'm just kidding. I love Canadians. I can't name a Canadian that I like right now, but I love Canadians. And then he says he plays the queer card, which, you see that all the time nowadays. And then he plays the Jewish card. See that all the time nowadays, especially played out. And then the black card, of course, the most infamous of cards to play. He plays every single card in the book, and he wonders why he's there. It's like, well, I don't know either, frankly. That was really bizarre. So I'm telling you guys, none of the other chefs are like that too. You don't see a toy talking like that, because she doesn't have that victim mentality that Devin has. And I don't know, Devin is a strange character, very strange character. I really wish that he had gotten sent home last week so that we didn't have to suffer through that really cringeworthy line, because I really resent having to say it out loud. I'll say anything out loud if I have to. Teams have to make dishes from the top 5 cuisines in America for their challenge. The girls had to leave out someone, so they left out Danya. I don't know why the fuck they did that. Danya's amazing. She's one of the best. I would love to eat Danya's dishes. I know as well as you guys do that she would have done great in this challenge. And then the teams, what happens is they start cooking and then they have to stop and get rid of one person, and they keep having to eliminate someone from both kitchens. And Carmen says someone will have to pull her hair to get her out of the kitchen. And it's like, don't encourage anyone, because I bet there's people who would love to pull your hair. And then Carmen does not listen to advice because her mental gymnastics tell her not to. And then the last person on the women's team is Sad Sack Sandra. And of course, she is all alone, as usual. They wanted her to be all by herself. And, she was really struggling with listening to everybody because they were all shouting at her at once. And she was also very sad. You could just see it in her eyes. You could see the sadness in Sad Sack Sandra's eyes. And then the last man was Ryan, and he did a really good job. This has probably been his highlight moment so far this season. But the women's team screwed up a toy's dish. They really, really screwed it up. And she was not happy with that. And I would be upset too, because it was their responsibility to get that dish right, and they really should have done better with that. And I feel like that's been one of the worser things that the women's team has done this season, is screw her over like that, because her dish could have been pretty good, in my opinion. So anyways, in terms of the dishes that they made for this challenge, as usual, Sammy's pad thai looked really good. It had some peanut sauce, and it looked tasty. I haven't ever had pad thai before, but this made me want to eat pad thai. I want to have it right now. If I could order pad thai right now, I would eat it right now. And then Sad Sack Sandra's chicken parmesan looked really good too. I mean, chicken parmesan, I've only ever had Olive Garden's chicken parmesan, and this looks a lot better than that. So I really wish that I could have tried it. I really wish that with Hell's Kitchen that they would develop like a taste-o-vision so that you could taste the dishes through the television, like in Willy Wonka. Got Mike TV transporting himself in the microwave. Wait, he didn't put himself in the microwave? What am I saying? And then also Ryan's curry looked really, really good. I mean, that looked like a curry that you just love to make at home and have it like any day of the week for multiple days. Like, that looked really good. So I would say the best dish of the night was Ryan's curry. And he said his wife, it's her favorite dish, and I wouldn't blame her. If I was his wife, it would be my favorite dish too, that's for sure. The women are not happy about losing again. The men get to go out to get pampered, and then they also get a nice dinner and get some pans to take home, some really expensive pans. The women have to sort trash, and then they have to build composts. And now, this is the part of the episode where they kind of built the advertisement around. So Atoy, she has a complete meltdown. She says, "I'm never being quiet again. I want to go home. I'm pissed off." She was just really upset. She was like throwing things. She was throwing her chef jacket. She was ready to go home. But then, surprisingly, Demir comes to the rescue. I mean, like, he is so good, Demir. that he is helping the women's team now too. Like, the women's team has been in shambles ever since the first episode. Demir, he is now like he has become master chef, where he is like overwatching both teams, and he is like, if a woman has a problem, I'm going to help her out. If a man has a problem, I'm going to help him out. He's just helping everybody out, and being a total a total, what would you call it? A total Chad. He was a Chad in this episode to a toy, and he helped her out, and he made her feel good, and he motivated her. That was really nice to see, actually. So I was kind of liking this episode up to this point. I felt like that was a really cool moment. Another standout moment for Demir, who continues to have standout moments. So then, after the whole punishment is over, which, that punishment, that definitely would be the worst one, yeah. As long as it, but then again, like, you think about, maybe there's another punishment where you'd have to eat something gross, and I think, like, look, as long as you don't have to eat anything, I'm fine with it. I would be fine with it. If you had to eat that trash, now that would be the worst. But then again, I did suffer through Gordon Ramsay's frozen meals, and those were all trash, sorry to say. The only one, I would say, like, if you were to pick two, if you had to, I would pick the chicken pot pie or the risotto, just for anyone who's curious. Those are probably the best ones, but they're still trash. Like, they're still like C's, D's, or F's. So then a toy gets called to Gordon's office like she's going to the principal's office, and it turns out that he's having one-on-one talks with everyone. And now I thought at first, this is kind of nice, he's doing something nice. He's giving them tips. He's massaging their egos. He's talking to them. He's making them feel like they're important. But that is when he does something really sinister and devious, and he makes everyone rank their own teams. So basically, this whole one-on-one talk thing was like a smokescreen, so that he could have them all rank each other and go like, oh, I ranked that person last, I ranked that person second to last. So most of the men rank Devin last, and most of the women rank Sandra last, I believe. And then there is an elimination challenge based on these rankings instead of having a service. And I said, look, holy shit, this is so unfair and stupid. It's Devin and Jason, who Jason has singled out once again. I mean, they just can't stop putting Jason at the bottom for no reason other than they hate his guts. Like, every single episode, it's like it's retarded. And then also Sandra and a toy. And then what made me even more upset, this doesn't have to do with the episode, and I know I haven't done a trailer review because I don't really do trailer reviews anymore. Hardly at all. But the Madam Web trailer, they played that thing like twice, and having to sit through that abomination of a trailer just made this episode even worse. Like, that movie looks so generic and awful and ugly. Like, they sucked all the color out of it. It just looks like a generic Sony movie. It just looks like shit. And so, like, that made this episode even worse. And this elimination challenge, I really did not like it. After all a toy just went through, she singled out. And then also Sandra, Sad Sack Sandra, who helped finish the challenge, helped cook every single person's dish on her team. Singled out. And then she had a really good quote for this situation where she said, "I'm at the bottom again. Why? I don't know." I thought that was hilarious because it's like, yeah, I know, right? Like, why are you at the bottom? Chef Gordon, you know what elimination challenges are for, Chef Gordon? Let's give a good scenario here. Let's have service. Let's do service. It is Hell's Kitchen, right? On Hell's Kitchen, you do the services. That's kind of a part of the show. Do the services, and then the people who they vote to be on the bottom have to go through the elimination challenge. And instead of sending someone home this episode, in the episode on a cliffhanger, and then next episode have 2 people get sent home. You have the one from the elimination challenge, and then one at the end of the episode. Boom. A lot better than this. This was just shitty. It was really, really shitty. Like, the fact that these 2 women, one of them did all this stuff for them. I mean, she did not deserve to be there at all, Sad Sack Sandra. But once again, she is put at the bottom of the show. And then also a toy, after all that she went through this episode. And after, I mean, it was almost like Gordon was bullying her. Like, Chef Gordon was bullying her by putting her in this challenge. I mean, obviously, they should have been able to cook steak. I know that. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, having to do this high-pressure elimination challenge, I thought it was a terrible thing for them to have to do. I thought it was terrible for Jason to have to do it, but I knew that he would make it through because he's easily the best one out of those 4 chefs, even though I really do like Sad Sack Sandra, and I would love to eat all of her Sad Sack food, especially that cheesesteak that she made that other episode. So Devin, he fucked up the steak again by putting it in the oven after he cooked it in the pan. And then he once again sliced it 6 ways like he did last episode, showing that not only he didn't deserve to ever be here in this competition, but also that he does not learn from his mistakes. So again, it's like as soon as I saw him doing that, I was like, oh, he's going home. Like, why didn't you just send him home last week? Like, why waste time? Jason sliced his steak too, but he only sliced it once, so you could see the middle and he could show off. That was pretty funny. And then a toy, she knew it shouldn't be cut, so that's something to say, but her puree was not very good. Gordon sends Jason back to the dorms first, showing that once again he did not deserve to be there at all. And it's like, well, I don't even know anymore. I mean, that they did this elimination challenge just to boost views or something. And it to me, it's just really, really stupid. Really, really cheap tactic to boost views and ratings. Sad Sack Sandra gets sent back to the dorms next, and I wrote, good, exclamation point. I don't want her going home anytime soon. Chef Gordon, one of the worst frozen meals that he made was his beef brisket and red wine sauce. And so, also predictably, he liked Devin's red wine sauce that he used for his dish. But what ends up happening is that Devin gets sent home just like predicted. I was going to give this episode an F if Sandra, Jason, or a toy went home. But because Devin went home finally, thankfully, that's another thing I'll be thankful about on Thanksgiving. I would give this episode a C minus. I was really not a fan of this episode. I felt like it was very weird. It was weirdly structured. It was weirdly paced. Like, you can even tell in the notes. Like, you guys didn't see it, but I wrote a ton of notes because the episode was kind of like all over the place. But there were some good things about it. You know, Demir helping out a toy, you know, was a top tier moment of the season. So anyways, please like this video and comment and tell me what you think. You know, and it's okay if you disagree. I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to unsubscribe or anything, because like I know there's been some times where I have unsubscribed like really fast if someone doesn't agree with something that I have to say, like if somebody gave the Goosebumps show a good review, for instance. But like, it's just Hell's Kitchen, who cares? And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more reviews like this. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon for the Goosebumps finale.